This time it's on a big stage, but normally I imagine this is done from the comfort of their own homes. So I'm sure that us and the crowd can make them feel very welcome as well as we cheer on these fantastic competitors. Let's check out those prize cards, Pablo.
Goodness gracious, immediately both players having rough prizes. We see the Darkness Energy prize for Gabriel, so Monkey Dirty will likely see no use whatsoever in this match. And over on Nathan's side, that Dust Noir, there's only one copy of that in his list, so we're not going to be seeing a lot of Curse Blast, so we might be seeing just a pure Dragapult on Dragapult battle with Dreepies flying all over the place, Amy.
It very well might be that way, but I'm sure both of these players have tricks up their sleeves galore, and I can't wait to see how they get around the various hurdles they're going to put in front of one another. But there we see the Houndshake, and here we go! The battle begins!
We are getting started. Seems like Nathan is going first. I don't know if he chose to go first or if Gabriel won the coin flip and chose to go second. But starting Dreepy, starting Buddy Puffin in the end, in a mirror such as this one, you don't mind being the one to evolve first, but that Badoo being in the active spot right now does mean that Nathan has no possibility to get to a turn 2 Dragapult. So he's gonna have to do it the more traditional way, having to evolve through the Dracloaks.
I think that's the nice thing about the Badoo maybe being in the active to begin with, though. Nathan knows that he's going to have to make the use of his item cards now. It's now or never, or at very least until Badoo stops being so irritating with that itchy pollen. So looking through the deck with our first Buddy Puffin, searching 2 basic Pokemon with 70 HP or less and placing them on our bench. We've gone for a Duskull and a Dreepy and straight in with the Earthen Vessel, discarding another item card in the switch, again knowing that Badoo is going to lock that option away ever so soon. So absolutely 1 Psychic and 1 Fire type energy for Nathan to get started with those energy attachments as well, knowing that Gabriel won't be able to attack on the first turn either.
Having that 1 copy of Earthen Vessel in hand, honestly quite fortunate for Nathan. Attaching energy each turn when you only play 6 can be a little difficult. Neither player has access to Crispin throughout this game, so every energy will count for so much.
Absolutely. If anyone misses a beat in this battle, that's when the tide will change, and the tide of battle with that. So a Buddy Puffin as well as the first action on Gabriel's turn. Who would have thunk it?
Evening up things in terms of setup. Now, no Badoo inside for Nathan, and if Gabriel attacks with that itchy pollen, even finding Badoo to counteract your opponent's Badoo will be quite difficult with not being able to play Buddy Puffin, not being able to play Nest Ball. Now, you called it, Amy. We might see Dracloak take the first prize card here against that Badoo.
Oh my goodness. Well. Look how the turns have tabled. Wow. We could see Dracloak make a meaningful attack. Who could have called it? Oh, goodness. Well, Badoo might put in lots of work here, though, because like you say, Nathan's going to have to take the slow route, and Gabriel probably doesn't quite mind that.
Yep, not going to mind that too much. It would leave Nathan a little bit exposed, right? Both energies in the active spot, only to take a single prize card. If Gabriel was able to respond to that with his own Dragapult and eliminate those energies, that would definitely put him in the lead. Now, both players know about each other's deck list. I'm sure Nathan, over the course of the games in Swiss rounds, probably has knowledge on the Monkey Dirty, probably has knowledge on the Blood Moon or Saloon as well. So it's something that he might consider when going into the later stages of the game. But eventually he's going to realize that both cards are unavailable for Gabriel, the Darkness Energy and the Blood Moon or Saluna.
Absolutely. There'll be a point where those kind of mind games, that mental tug of war really comes into effect, where Nathan realizes, oh my gosh, Gabriel must not have access to those. That's great. I can be a bit riskier with my plays and kind of take chances, which is how you get to a stage like that.
Yeah, Gabriel already knows that and will play with that information, but Nathan is not able to know that until, I mean, he might never figure it out. At some point, I'm sure he will have that intuition. But another Buddy Puffin here for Gabriel. I think we're going to see all 4 Dreepy hit the board. Never mind, it's just going to be 3.
Just 3. That's how the Masters do it.
I think
That's how they do it. But no, 2 Buddy Buddy Poffin, you really could not ask for more. That is exactly what we want to see in an opening hand for a deck like Dragapult, where pretty much all of your Pokemon need to evolve to be effective. Going in with our Arven, finally with our first supporter of this best of 3. Oh, revealing that Defiance Vest, really nice and early, and an Earthen Vessel for the energy.
Now, if Gabriel eventually, not in this game, but in other games, has access to that Monkey Dory, the Defiance Band reducing the Phantom Dive damage from 200 to 160, and then using Monkey Dory to essentially heal your Dragapult by 30 damage would allow, no, it doesn't allow, no, it would allow Dragapult EX to survive 2 attacks. So if your Dragapult is 2-hit KOing your opponent's Dragapult, but their Dragapult is 3-hit KOing yours, you will definitely gain an advantage right there.
That is huge, and a huge compliment to Pokemon mathematics, and maybe why this, maybe why they've got this far in the tournament as well.
Now, we're not going to see that this game, as the Defiance Best was the card to hit the discard pile to get energies into play, but you can see how both players really prioritizing attaching that energy, and it seems like Nathan might not fully commit to attacking and KOing that, but you will decide to evolve that Dracloak on the bench and utilize its ability. It's not poisoned, right? It can't be poisoned on the bench. It's just marking that his ability has been used.
Absolutely. Recon Directive being one of the most impactful abilities in our meta, especially for this finals. Being able to look at those top 2 cards of the deck, choose 1 to put in your hand and 1 to the bottom, just gives real flexibility to the deck. Going for the another attach on the Dreeby and attacking using Bite for 40 damage, chomping down on our Buddy Badoo, and taking that out. So items will be available next turn for Nathan.
I love the spread of resources by Nathan. Commits the evolution to the bench, commits the energies to the active, and tells Gabriel, okay, if you knock out my energies, at least I get to keep my stage 1, and I can still attach an energy and the Sparkling Crystal and start using Phantom Dive. Now, in response, we're going to see lands for triple Dracloak, which is a solid indicator that perhaps Gabriel doesn't already have the pieces to get to the Dragapult, but wow, what a turn on first stamp. Triple Dracloak, Pheasantipity to flip the script. What a turn.
Wow, that was rapid, evolving all the Dreepy into Dracloak. Oh my gosh, and then using Unfair Stamp because Nathan kind of, I guess, took the bait of knocking out that Badoo, knowing that items need to be online to make some progress. Obviously, Gabriel was then able to respond, putting Nathan down to just 2 cards in hand, and Nathan only has 1 Dracloak to help with card draw next turn. So Gabriel has just filled that bench with useful Pokemon like Radiant Alakazam and Pheasantipity, got a huge draw engine online and is playing the long game.
Crucially missing the fire energy though. Did find a Psychic. That's not going to be enough to use that Dragon Headbutt for 70 damage. I still believe, Amy, we're going to see the Dracloak attack, not when I thought it would happen, but we need to find that fire energy to help us out.
We really do. Here's the flip the script. It could be big. I don't think I saw the glimpse of a fire energy, so we're still going to keep digging. That's not a fire energy either. Let's keep going. 1 more Recon Directive. No, let's keep going. Oh my gosh, we might miss it.
Yep, I don't see any fire energy available just now, so perhaps no KO. We're going to move 1 damage counter. Oh, it's already in the active. Couldn't tell that both energies were already attached, so that Dragon Headbutt will happen, and there's our first KO for Gabriel.
We did it! We did it, everyone! Dracloak took a knockout. Master of predictions, me. I can't be out here on the stage. I'm not a player, but I tell you what, I can make some mad predictions about Dracloaks.
Nathan only has 2 cards to work with, and that Recon Directive. I couldn't tell what he had in his hand. Ultra Ball and Boss. Ultra Ball could be good here to find Luminion, to find Iono perhaps, to try to find more pieces. Could also get Arven if we have a Dragapult, but we need the Earthen Vessel, which has been exhausted, so we need a Raw Energy and the Sparkling Crystal. We're just going to see a lance. Now, Nathan is the one playing defensively, and Gabriel with a super, super strong setup. Triple Dracloak ready to go into Dragapult and ready to start wrecking Nathan's board.
Gabriel definitely looking like he has the advantage right now, but if Nathan manages to evolve into this Dragapult, which we're definitely going to thanks to Lance, we do have 320 HP to get through. So, you know, Gabriel is going to have to work really hard to damage through Nathan's board effectively.
That Fizandipity is definitely going to help Nathan stabilize a little bit more. He can still get an attack going. He can still establish his own Dragapult. So this draw with Fizandipity is going to be huge. And he still has access to Luminion V potentially. So big 3 cards here coming with the Flip the Script.
Here we go. Flip the Script allows us to draw 3 cards because a Pokemon was knocked out on our previous turn. I saw a Fire Energy. That's very good. Another Dreepy is excellent. The Sparkling Crystal as well. Everything's in hand.
Wow, what a response. That is the perfect cards found after a non-first time. Turns out it wasn't as unfair. And now both players having essentially perfect setups. What?
I can't believe that after a not so unfair Stampers, I think we need to go and scribble out on that one. We need to rename it entirely, like you say. Unfortunately for Gabriel, Nathan has come back and made quite the recovery and now has a very stable board state going forward to knock out this Dracloak and scatter some damage across Gabriel's board for later.
You know, we could even see Nathan have a sly smile right there, knowing he really drew well off of that Flip the Script. I really think Fizandipity is honoring its ability name because, wow, what a turn of events. Now, don't get me wrong. Gabriel already has a huge hand and has Flipped the Script and has 2 Recon Directives. So it's very likely that he's just going to get his own Phantom Dive activated right now.
Oh, okay. Monkey Dory is hitting the bench, so we're definitely looking forward to seeing that come around. But also just being there as a bit of a mind game, as a threat to Nathan's board state, is a nice feeling. Going for the Crispin there. Crispin lets us attach 1 energy from the deck and put the other in hand, so the other wasn't attached for turn, so that's fantastic. Crispin really was a fantastic addition to this deck recently, and I'm so glad to see him being used now. Just in the perfect moment.
Yeah, I completely missed the 1 copy of Crispin in Gabriel's deck. I thought there wasn't any, but turns out it is available. We're going to see the Dragapult response. So this game is completely haywire, Amy. Going
it's madness.
Like, with how both players started, I'm really surprised we're at this stage where we both have turn 3 Dragapult ready to go.
Honestly, it is fantastic. But I tell you what, I am a little bit worried for that bench Treepy right now from Nathan, as we will be able to use Radiant Alakazam to Painful Spoons the 1 damage counter on Dragapult, move it to the Dreepy and KO it. And we're going to counter catcher the Fezandipity for, we're going for the 2 prize cards. I like it. And taking Flip the Script offline after it was so impactful last turn.
Yeah, Gabriel had quite a few options there. Could have gone for the Dust Gloves and the Dreepy to get 2 prizes. That would have left the Fizandipity there to draw. Now, by denying the Fizandipity, it will once again limit Nathan's options. There's no more Dracloak in play right now. So, pretty well done, but that does mean there's still a very healthy Dragapult DX in play for Nathan.
Very much so. And that's the thing with the Dragapult mirror match, right? The Dragapults can't one-hit KO one another. So either you've got to find a way around that fact, or it really is a bit of a tussle between both players as they continue to spread damage counters around and just use Phantom Dive again and again until eventually someone goes down.
Now in this war of attrition, there's an opening for Nathan if he's able to find Dusknoir. Actually, I think Dusknoir is prized. If Dusknoir had been available, Nathan could have actually KO'd both the Dragapult and the Dracloak on the bench. So that is one vulnerable spot in Gabriel's current setup. But I think Nathan only has 1 card in hand, so pulling that off might have been a bit difficult.
Maybe indeed. I like this removing the Fezandipity from play just because it does really make the difference, like you say, from the Flip the Script, as Nathan won't be able to recover much. We don't have any card draws, so we are living in Top Deck City.
All right, Arven, Energy, a Dragapult available. We can recandy into another Dragapult, right? Get an Energy attachment down, and then in the end, if you end up having more Dragapults than your opponent, that seems like a good way to try to win this match.
Absolutely. That Arven was really nice. That has really saved the day a little bit, because otherwise the hand was not looking too great. But we do still have the Dragapult in the active, but it's obviously nice to make sure this Dreepy doesn't go down when it's so low on health.
Seems like Nathan has something else in mind, likely gonna try and recover the Fezandipity. This does open up a possibility for Gabriel to win the game next turn by taking 3 prize cards.
Absolutely, 3 prize cards in 1 turn. Something Dragapult really specializes in.
Now, Nathan, what is he going to try to piece out? Clearly, he has a game plan, something that is different than protecting that Dreepy. Feels like he needs more help, perhaps looking for, I don't know, in order to disrupt Gabriel's huge hand. No, we're just going to get that Dracloak into play.
Going for more card draw instead. I don't dislike this, but we've ended up with a Counter Catcher and an Iono. Counter Catcher can be played, Iono not so. But definitely a tricky decision still, as Nathan still has a really small hand size, so maybe going for the Iono to repopulate that next turn. But I think we went with the Counter Catcher in the end.
Yeah, I think he kept the Counter Catcher this time around. He really wished he could have kept both cards, right? They're both amazing. We do have the rescue board. Make sure that gets attached in case your hand gets disrupted. You don't want to redraw that over again. And we're just going to see the Phantom Dive doing 200 damage to the active and taking down the Dracloak on the bench.
Yeah, knocking out that Dracloak again, just keeping Gabriel's board in check, because now we don't have any backups once this Dragapult falters. Okay, over to Gabriel's turn. We've got a really heavily damaged Dragapult in the active and nothing on the bench to evolve this turn. This could be the pivotal turning point that Nathan needed to disrupt Gabriel's gameplay, once having a really solid bench, but now only support Pokemon to be seen.
Yeah, Gabriel has focused so much on denying resources for Nathan. We see an attach being committed to the Monkey Dory at this point in time, which is very interesting to see. We could actually end up seeing a Mind Vent, and this game could end up coming down to a coin flip of confusion, Amy.
I love seeing status conditions at this stage of the game, showing that all of the different mechanics of the Pokemon TCG are worthwhile. Mind Vent can really change things up, so it's worth going for it and just pulling out all of the stops we've used. There we go, Alakazam to move the damage counters around on Nathan's board, because we don't need quite so many on that Dracloak to take a knockout this turn.
With Gabriel not being able to take 2 prizes here, he's gonna go ahead and make sure that the Dusclops is KO'd most likely this turn, or he's saving some damage as he only needs to place 6 on the Dracloak this time around to get a knockout. I feel like you need to deal with the active Dragapult. You will need to KO that over the course of 2 turns, and by preventing the Dusknoir, you prevent a possibility for a 3 prize turn for Nathan.
Absolutely. Prioritizing what's going to keep you in the game, definitely the most important thing right now, because the only way that Nathan can alter the damage that he's putting out each turn is to use those Dusclops. So we're going for, was that another Lance?
No, we're using an Ultra Ball, finding that Body.
Okay.
Probably just trying to thin the deck before drawing off of that Fezandipity. We're gonna see an Iono. I mean, Nathan doesn't have a lot of cards so far. He's only used 1 Recon Directive last turn, so you know that he probably has 1 card that he kept, but you don't know how good it is. And Gabriel's hand is huge right now, so he will be putting a lot of resources to the bottom of the deck.
Absolutely. Going ahead and putting 2 energy back into the deck using Super Rod. They get shuffled back in so Gabriel can continue to make sure that energy is definitely part of this strategy, keeping on in there. Now, a large hand size can be good, but it also can be damaging because of the opportunity that you unlock with Radiant Alakazam being able to be used as an attacking Pokemon with these decks. So Gabriel using Iono kind of stabilizes his own hand whilst disrupting Nathan.
All right, Gabriel hasn't even established a single drip. He didn't want to open up the possibility for Nathan to win the game next turn with that Radiant Alakazam that you were mentioning. So this is going to be a difficult situation for Gabriel. He will do 200 damage to his Dragapult, probably knock out the Dracloak. No, I think you have to knock out the Dusclops, but then you have to rely on Mind Bend. Yep, there's the Dusclops going down.
Well, it might come up to Lady Luck and coin flips on Confusion. It could be so risky when you're confused to attempt an attack, and it's not ideal for Dragapult to be retreating, so it might not be such a bad idea. I quite like kind of trying to disrupt and confuse quite literally your opponent and their Pokemon. We've gone and grabbed the Iono off the Dracloak's Recon Directive. A nice card to start with, but what's going to follow up for Nathan?
He has a boss's orders as well. There's no way to win the game in this particular turn, so Nathan might have to prioritize. Just if he gets another Dragapult established on board, he's gonna win. And now Gabriel might have been banking on the fact that he could hit the Blood Moon Ursaluna off the prize cards after taking that knockout, but I do believe he did not take it. If Blood Moon Ursaluna was available, Gabriel would have had a very easy way to close out this game. But can we take a look at the prize cards to see if the Blood Moon Ursaluna is still there? It is.
Oh no, that's very unlucky for Gabriel. So we aren't going to see that Blood Moon Ursaluna come out of hibernation just yet. Nathan still with the open opportunity to take this win by taking out the only Dragapult on Gabriel's board. And Monkey Dory left to try and fight out this battle.
All right, Dragapult goes down. I think we are about to see a Mind Bend if we can find an energy. No other options for Gabriel. Nathan wasn't able to establish another Dragapult, so he's going to try his best to avoid that coin flip, but generally this game could come down to a coin flip, baby. I can't believe it.
I can't believe it either, but that is exactly what the Pokemon trading card game is all about. Unexpected twists and turns to create fantastic battles between strong Pokemon and even stronger trainers.
I wonder if Gabriel had attached energy to the Radiant Alakazam instead. If Nathan had 6 cards after taking the prize cards, maybe he would have been able to take a knockout that way. I don't know if he has that many. I don't think so, but yeah, I really think if we have an energy, we're going to see a Mind Bend, and the game will come down to Confusion, or unless Gabriel still has 2 prize cards left. So if Nathan can find a Dusclops and put 5 damage counters on the Monkey Dory, that would be game.
It very much would be. Nathan looking like they are in a commanding position right now. Gabriel still needing to attach another energy. Doesn't look like he might even have it. Of course, we've got the Darkness energy still in the prize card, so we definitely can't use Monkey Dory's Adrenabrain ability. This is looking really scary. This could really come down to the wire.
2 cards. Can we find an energy? Doesn't seem like he did.
Doesn't look confident. We've
all
got,
right.
Okay, counter catcher trying to stall the game out a little bit. Can Nathan now retreat the Rotom? Just trying to use every single mechanic, every single stride that Gabriel can get to as he is behind on the prize card.
Turo was the 1 card.
Nathan takes the win with a huge Professor Turo scenario to take that Rotom back into his hand, allowing that final knockout for the final 1 prize card.
The last 2 prize cards for Gabriel were quite literally the best 2 cards Nathan could have hoped for. If Blood Moon Ursaluna was available, Gabriel could have had a very easy way to knock out the Dragapult, or if he had access to that Darkness energy beforehand, he could have sent a lot of those damage counters accumulating on his board over to Nathan's side to be able to take a prize card, or those 2 prize cards much earlier. So very unfortunate circumstances for Gabriel. Feels like odds were always against him in this match.
Honestly, after Gabriel's setup, I was so confident. I was feeling really great for him. I thought, oh, surely Nathan can't bring this back. But Nathan just played so perfectly, and every single odd came out in his favor. Let's check out how that went one more time.
We saw that by taking down the Badu. Gabriel responded with almost a perfect hand. Triple Dracloak on first stamp. Pheasantipity, energy for attach, taking away Nathan's hand. You can see how glad he was recognizing that. That was pretty...
That was pretty skillful.
Yeah, pretty well done.
Honestly,
Yeah.
that was perfect timing. Nathan then somehow made the flip of the script of the century. I'm calling it. You show me a better flip the script. I bet you that's the best one.
If you had asked Nathan which 3 cards he would like to draw, I'm pretty sure he would have chosen exactly those 3 cards. That was the perfect response that gave Nathan the lead, and then Gabriel set up because he didn't have that backup Dream, your backup Dragapult established. He wasn't able to overcome, and it didn't end up coming down to Mindbend because there wasn't even an energy played. It all came down to that Professor Turo being the 1 card off of the Iono. So Nathan drawing pretty well off of those disruption cards so far.
That is a wow with a capital W, Pablo. Wow. Those top decks, the Pheasantipity, everything went Nathan's way, and we saw that aggression has overcome the defensive stance of Gabriel's deck thus far. But will Gabriel's defensive stance overcome the aggression of Nathan's Dustclops and Dust Noirs on this occasion? We've seen offensive win game 1, can defensive come through and take game 2. Gabriel did everything he could to disrupt Nathan. Nathan still came through, but will the disruption stick in this game 2 of our Pokemon trading card game championships for Europe?
And this is where the pressure starts piling up, right? I think Gabriel should be confident that he really played that well. He got pretty good draws, and he honestly got pretty unlucky with the combination of the prize cards and Nathan's draw. Perfect draws off of the flip the script, to where if this game 2 plays out similarly, it's very likely he will come out the victor. However, Nathan must be feeling pretty good. Everything went his way, both against his opponent and for himself with those draws. So if it's your day to win the tournament, this game 1 really showed that.
Unfortunately, in this game 2, it seems unlikely we'll be flipping the script for a while, as Pheasantipity sits pretty in the prize cards, taking a back seat after such fantastic draws. Pheasantipity has decided it needs a rest.
Yep, Pheasantipity gonna be living in the prize cards until the very end of the game. No extra cards for Nathan. That Dragapult and the energy could also prove to be crucial. We are playing only 2 copies of Dragapult DX in our deck for Nathan, so having access to only 1, we do have Night Stretchers, a couple of Night Stretchers available, so we can continually recover it, but sometimes you need to search for it with that Ultra Ball.
Absolutely. And moving on to Gabriel's turn, after quite a simple turn for Nathan with just the Radiant Alakazam in the active, an attach of an energy, and 1 Dreepy thanks to an S-Ball on the bench. We move on to Gabriel's turn, which hopefully will be a bit more fruitful for him with the Buddy Poffin.
And over in the prizes, we do see the on first stamp right there, so we're not going to be disrupting heavily too much until the middle of the game. And that counter catcher at the very top could be crucial as well. These decks really love to disrupt and ghost, mess with their opponent's setup, make sure they are taking down the right threat or attacking the right Pokemon. So not having access to that counter catcher throughout this game, or having access to only 1, could actually be very crucial for him.
True. So we've gone for Arven, taking a Buddy Poffin for the Dreepy and the Badu, assessing that Nathan's turn 1 was, well, quite lackluster. I think that is a good shout. And the other card off our Arven being our rescue board, so that Dreepy can hop on a little board and jump out of the active for free. No retreat cost involved.
Yeah, rescue board, very clutch for sure. Gives you a lot of maneuvering throughout the game, no matter where you attach it. And of course, that Itchy Pollen on your first turn will definitely prevent a quick Dragapult from Nathan.
Absolutely. Turning item cards offline. Will it be enough just to allow Gabriel to get a more solid footing in this game than last time, slow Nathan right down, and allow Gabriel to take this game by storm?
Gabriel being very thorough with the price checking, I believe, this time around, making sure that he knows exactly what he can count on, what he won't have access to. And this time around, I would love to see the Blood Moon Ursa Luna come into play and the Monkey Dury. Those are the two cards that really distinguish Gabriel's list from the rest of the Dragapults, honestly, Dragapult Dusknoir. So I would love to see how he prepared for this mirror match, which I'm sure he knew was going to be the match he was going to play the most at the European International Championships.
Such a popular deck. I'm not surprised we're seeing lots in our finals. Of course, as predicted, going ahead and using that board to bring Dreepy back to the bench, attaching a fire-type energy to the other Dreepy is great foresight for the future, making sure that we're going to get a Dragapult powered up in time. Badu into the active for an Itchy Pollen, so nasty, and giving 10 damage to our Radiant Alakazam, whilst also not allowing Nathan to play items on this turn.
Hey, if you had told me before we got this game started that we were going to see a Bite, we were going to see a Dragon Headbutt, and we were going to see a Mind Ruler to deal with the first few prizes, I would not have believed you, but I think that's how Nathan is planning to deal with this Purdue and free up his setup.
I think that's just what you've got to think, though. Anything can happen in a Pokemon battle. Every twist and turn is unlike the last. And that's exactly how our players have got to this point, is by being unpredictable, playing well, knowing their outs. And as we carry on with Nathan's turn with an Arven, we get to take an item card and a tool card. The tool can be played, so the Sparkling Crystal can be attached to a Pokemon. But the item card will be unavailable until Badu has stopped being quite so irritating with that Itchy Pollen.
Does Nathan have the energy to deal with this Purdue, or are we going to see a pass? He does have the Psychic Energy. That does mean there's only one left outside of 9 Stretchers to power up multiple Dragapults. But there's the Mind Ruler doing like 1,000,000 damage to that poor Purdue because Gabriel has a very healthy hand. And now it's on Gabriel to make something happen here.
Okay, there we go. We've taken the first prize card of our second game of this seniors finals. We're using Radiant Alakazam's Mind Ruler attack, which does 20 damage for each card in your opponent's hand. I think this is a great attacking option right now for Nathan, and it's lovely that we've seen a plethora of attacking Pokemon in this deck, regardless of Dragapult being in the forefront of our minds.
And that's one of the characteristics of top players, right? It's like, yes, I'm playing a Dragapult deck. That doesn't mean I have to commit to attacking with Dragapult every single turn, and finding ways to disrupt the price trade-off, disrupt your opponent's plan, and make sure that they're not doing their optimal play or attacking the optimal Pokemon that they could is part of how you really make sure you're getting the most out of your cards and making sure you're planning to the best of your ability on how to win each game.
You're not wrong, Pablo. And as we continue with Gabriel's masterful comeback, Luminion comes into play with our fantastic ability, Luminous Sign. On play, Gabriel gets to search his deck for one supporter Pokemon. Of course, there we go. We're getting the Lance played down for those Dracloak, as per last game, making sure that we get that really strong draw engine after Badu bought us a little bit of time.
Now, it's important to note that Gabriel does play 2 copies of Badu, so if he really wishes, he could go into that and try to buy himself another turn. And I think he just drew it. Yep.
Off the flip the script. Now that would be quite fantastic, since we can't really take a knockout this turn. Maybe it's worth continuing Badu's prowess. Yeah, he's going down. Let's go. We get to retreat thanks to Rescue Board, and Badu is in the active once again. Itchy Pollen, 20 damage total now on Radiant Alakazam, and no more items still.
No more items. Now Nathan, of course, ready to deal with that Badu. If he's able to find a Dragapult and another energy, he would actually be able to start using Phantom Dive. However, with no item cards, that does seem quite difficult. Seems like he has a tough choice there of that Recon Directive between Rotom and an Iono. But that Dracloak is definitely very exposed. Yes, Nathan can deal with the Badu, but Gabriel already has access to Counter Catcher. This will activate Flip the Script if Nathan takes the knockout, And so if Gabriel takes down Nathan's only Dracloak in play, that Radiant Alakazam is good, but it's no good against a Dragapult.
That is so true. Unfortunately, Radiant Alakazam can't quite stick out for that long.
No Dreepy drawn.
Oh no. And I don't think a Dragapult either, so we can't kind of take that aggressive stance.
Yeah, and we can't evolve to protect at the very least, right? So,
oh my gosh.
Rough situation here for Nathan. He's going to pass. He's not going to take a knockout. He's not going to activate Flip the Script to not give Gabriel extra cards. But I think I see enough in his hand. I think he might be missing. He has an Arvin, so he might be missing either Dragapult or the Counter Catcher to pull this off, Amy.
Yeah, I think we're going to go for the Fire Energy there rather than Professor Turo, or...
Yeah, it was the Professor Turo kept.
The Turo.
There's a Dragapult,
Okay.
never mind. We have Arvin for Counter Catcher.
Oh, wow, fantastic.
There we go. We can also establish that Force Seal Stone in our hand for later down the line. No, we have the Luminion already, so now Nathan will only have a single Radiant Alakazam. Now he will be able to play item cards. He will be able to puff in for a lot more Dreepies, but when staring down a Dragapult, this is really bad for Nathan.
Really, really bad. I mean, not being able to establish a Dragapult, still going with that Radiant Alakazam, which just can't deal with the Dragapult. Gabriel's defensive and disruptive stance is definitely making a stand in this game too.
Now, I wonder if, as Gabriel, you actually, if there's ever a situation where you choose not to Recon Directive, try to minimize the damage that Radiant Alakazam can do to your Dragapult, just to make sure that you're as healthy as possible when Nathan finally is able to make something happen.
Absolutely. That's the odd part about this tussle, right? Radiant Alakazam's definitely ready to go. Does Gabriel stop drawing cards to help himself, but not help himself? It's very strange, a very odd conundrum indeed, but Dracloak goes down, and Nathan is stuck with a very tricky conundrum.
Nathan is unlikely to take a prize card this turn, so Gabriel really wishes he had a bench space open to use his own Radiant Alakazam, transfer some of the damage from the active to the Dreepies that will eventually hit the board so that he could take a double prize knockout. However, he can search for boss to target down whatever Dreepy eventually gets an energy, right? So Gabriel is in a fantastic spot here. Now, the game's not over by any means. If there's one deck that can make a comeback, it is Dragapult, right? We've seen it over and over throughout the whole weekend. But this situation, that is a tall mountain to climb, Amy.
It really is. Gabriel is firmly in the driver's seat as Nathan struggles to take control of this game. Currently only one Dreepy is not going to be enough. We're going to need to establish more than one to certainly get going with this game and bring it back. We're going to need a more definitive stance than this right now to bring this back. Otherwise, Gabriel could just run away with this victory.
You can tell Gabriel is very, very pleased with himself. He's confident. You can see it in his stance. And now Nathan is definitely struggling to piece something out here. I wonder what else is in his hand. I don't know. This has to be a really good 5 cards, Amy.
It's 5 cards. That's a lot of cards. But you're right. It needs to be a very, very good 5 cards.
Yeah.
Boss, Energy, Rotom. Ooh, I don't dislike the Rotom and the Forest Sealstone, actually, because that would allow us to draw more cards and kind of make this slightly better ready for next turn. So using the Forest Sealstone just to ensure that the board is solidified is actually quite a nice position to be in.
Yeah, it doesn't feel great to use your V-Star power to just get a body puff in, but Nathan needs more than one Dreepy. He sees that Gabriel has his Forest Sealstone established. He knows he can access any card he wants, and you can't assume that your opponent's boss's orders is going to be priced every single time, right? So Nathan needs more Dreepies, and there we go. Body puffin, 3 Dreepies into play, 3 extra cards from the instant charge. So I would say it was a pretty good Iono.
I say that was a pretty good Iono too. Honestly, Forest Sealstone for Buddy Puffin might not feel great, but that's exactly what V-Star powers are for. You can use it once per game, but it's game changing. Nathan needed to reestablish Dreepy on the board to continue to make this comeback.
Yep, now Nathan will need another really good 3 cards here off of this instant charge to finish his turn. Combination of Dragapult, Rare Candy, Sparkling Crystal A-Spec, all of those will be very welcome. And now it's on Gabriel's side. He has an advantage. He has the initiative. It's on him to make something happen here.
Absolutely. Here we go with our first recon directive. We definitely want to be drawing cards now. There is many Dreepies staring us down, and we want to minimize that impact as much as possible. We have 5 prize cards left to take. Nathan absolutely can make a comeback, so Gabriel needs to make sure that he's making every move towards disrupting Nathan's board and hand once again.
Oh goodness, Gabriel does have his Professor Turo available, so this does mean he can bench the Radiant Alakazam, can use his own Painful Spoons, and can take down the Dreepy that has an energy. There we go. Can move some of that damage to the bench and make the best use of the previous damage counters he established the previous turns.
Absolutely fantastic. That Dreepy only needs 1 damage counter, so even just 1 Itchy Pollen from a Badoo can make all the difference in this matchup. Radiant Alakazam's Painful Spoons dishing out some damage on some Dreepy to really change things up. We're going to knock out the Radiant Alakazam and a Dreepy with an energy, making it really hard for Nathan to come back, using every measure necessary. Nathan now needs the Sparkling Crystal to make a return attack on this turn.
Gabriel needs to evolve both Dreepies at the very least to not lose to a Boss's Orders next turn, but things are definitely not going for him right now. Does find a choice between Arven and Lance. Not an easy one. I think you essentially need both, and you have Night Stretcher, but you don't have access to Dragapult just yet. That's why this decision is quite tough.
I think personally I'd go with Arven. We can go for the Ultra Ball and the Sparkling Crystal, and then we have both.
Yep.
It's not ideal to be discarding some of these cards in hand because they are phenomenal, but at least it gives you the option. It gives the possibility of an attack from a Dragapult on this turn. Going for Night Stretcher, what are we going to take out of the discard pile? Going to go for a Dracloak, maybe taking the slower approach here. Yeah, gone for the slow approach. We're not going to establish this turn.
It's just with that Ultra Ball, I don't think Nathan had enough cards to really discard and have everything. He would have needed to get the energy, get the Sparkling Crystal. So close, right? Arven almost got him there, but now he at least has to evolve so he doesn't lose to the boss that Gabriel knows he has access to with that Forest Seal Stone. Things are looking really bad here for Nathan.
They really are. Unfortunately, Nathan has made every stride to try and make a comeback here, but unfortunately still just a few cards short of those impressive combinations we need to make it back into this game. Going for the Boss's Orders on the Radiant Alakazam. Great move, trying to disrupt Gabriel back, kind of give him a taste of his own medicine, and we're going to instant charge for 3 more cards and ending our turn with that.
This is so good for Nathan. That Boss's Order is so key. The Professor Turo has been exhausted. The rescue board is right now attached to the Dracloak on the bench. So I think Nathan will get himself a turn to really have a little bit of breathing room. I don't know that Gabriel can piece out an attack this turn. However, he did Forest Seal Stone for something. I don't know what that is, but that could be the key card to attack this. Oh, he has a switch.
Oh, brilliant. There we go. There's the switch straight into the Dragapult. Once again, Forest Seal Stone showing us why V-Star abilities are indeed once per game.
Goes for the Boss's Orders, targets down the energy, which is so crucial, forcing even more cards from Nathan, and preemptively attaches energy to the Radiant Alakazam to make sure that he doesn't find himself in the same spot as he was this turn. Gabriel 1 turn away essentially from potentially winning this game. Everything going well for him.
Big hit, taking down not only the Dracloak inactive with the energy, but placing more damage counters for the future. Rotom looking pretty shaky on the bench there as well, I imagine, because 1 Boss's Orders does take that down for a guaranteed game winning move. Nathan going in with a Nest Ball, exhausting all options. It's not over yet. The game is still afoot. Going for a Duskull, not a bad option now, thinning the deck, and is still possible to be used, but only 1 would be possible.
Now we do have enough cards in hand, right, to be able to Arven for that Ultra Ball that you were talking about and get our attack finally going, finally get a Dragapult established. That Duskull, though, is very likely going to be the target of some damage counters from the upcoming Phantom Dive.
Very much so.
It's going to become even ghostlier.
Okay, there's the attach for turn. Now we need an evolution and a sparkling crystal to continue to stay in this game.
Have a counter catcher available as well. He's gonna bring up the Luminia now, and we're gonna Iono now. Important to note, Gabriel has used a Professor Turo, has used his switch, but more importantly, he placed 2 copies of Professor Turo's. Finding it of an Iono to 2 is a whole other question, but he does have the possibility, or with a single energy, he's fine, right? But picking up the Luminion, I think, would be really, really powerful, because then you can reuse it to find whatever support you might need later down the line.
Quite right. Okay. This recon directive, a little tricky. A decision between Dracloak and Switch. Neither super useful right now, sadly.
Nathan did not find the Sparkling Crystal, did find the Dragapult, but Gabriel taking down that energy last turn. So important, and we're just gonna see instant charge. There's the energy, there's the knockout, and we're gonna go ahead and go to a game 3.
Congratulations, bringing that back. Gabriel with a big game win. Dragapult versus Dragapult, but a very different strategy. Defense winning this time. Will the defensive stance or the offensive attack go in either of their favor for this game 3? Very decisive, showing they're very evenly matched at this stage, both playing fantastically, and my word, have they definitely practiced this before.
It might not look like it, but that Padu attacking twice, giving up a single prize card, the other was surviving, but those 2 turns of no item cards really prevented Nathan to have any sort of decent board. He was never able to find a land. He couldn't get more than 1 Dreepy into play, and by the time he got it, it was too late. So let's take a look at what happened in this game 2 so far.
My word, Radiant Alakazam, didn't expect that, but really happy we got to see Radiant Alakazam putting in some work, taking out those Badoo. But unfortunately, then it got down to a stance where Nathan had no Dragapult potential on board and was having to really try and scrape back. Gabriel doing everything in his power to put pressure on Nathan to make a Dragapult, but unfortunately, Nathan just missed the essential pieces, and Gabriel took our game 2 of the European Pokemon International Championship 2025 Seniors Finals.
We saw the complete opposite this game as in game 1. Gabriel was the one who was in a commanding position the whole time, and Nathan had no help from the draw, from the disruption, missed the crucial pieces at the right time, and that's why we are heading into game 3 now. It'll be interesting to see who Nathan decides, or what Nathan decides, whether to go first or second. I'm gonna guess second.
This is the decider, and those are the decisions that can make or break your strategy. Let's see what they decide.
He can choose to use his own body to slow Gabriel down. Of course, this all is dependent on having a way to retreat into it, which with only 6 energies, it's not as easy as you would imagine. But goodness gracious, Amy, I am ecstatic for this game 3. And I think we have enough time to where time finishing shouldn't be a factor, and we should see a complete game 3.
I completely agree, and I'm nervous, to be honest with you, Pablo. I am really nervous because this is so close. This is down to the wire. You can feel the nerves in the room emanating, and honestly, either player could win. They are both so talented, and this really is coming down to just who manages to disrupt, damage, and take out the other side. Is Badoo or Dusknoir the way to go?
And I mean, so far, we haven't really seen both decks at their full potential, right? We didn't see Monkey Dory come into play in either of these games, or the Blood Nurse Luna. We haven't seen any Curse Blast at all so far. And Nathan, choosing to go second. Gabriel with the body puffin in hand. We saw once as he was setting up, he was nodding at his hand. Seems like he was pretty content with it. He's gonna have the bad news that one Dragapult DX is priced and his only copy of Boss's Orders and that Luminion as well, but I do believe he plays 2 copies of the fish.
That's rather lucky, as having 2 Buddy Puffin prize, but 1 in the hand. Yes, please. We would love that on turn 1 of the game. If you are having to go first, then obviously that's a brilliant start. Making sure you're solidifying your own board state before your opponent runs away with it. I think Gabriel has no doubt that he's rather happy with that starting hand. And Nathan's starting with his own Badoo this time.
Yeah, we'll be able to delay any sort of aggression by Gabriel. We could be seeing a Badoo war in this game. I mean, with both players playing it, it was to be expected to happen at some point. Now, Gabriel knows it's all on the line here. It's the last game of the series. Whoever wins here will be the international champion. So making sure he's very aware of what resources he does and doesn't have access to.
Absolutely. I applaud both players for being able to memorize this. I'd be writing it down because I don't think in this high pressure situation I'd be able to remember, even if I'd established what's in the prize cards. I think I'd be able to remember off the cuff. These are very stressful games. Although both players have been in this position previously, it of course is still very nerve-wracking.
Oh, it certainly is. I don't think like that feeling in the stomach, you know, that you feel when everything is on the line, when you're about to achieve so much success or you have already achieved it, I don't think that feeling ever goes away.
Absolutely, completely agreed. So we're going with the rescue board, of course, on our Dreepy, which is nice to be able to retreat it with no cost. So that's excellent for Gabriel. And now really it's just going to be a case of solidifying that board as much as possible before passing, knowing that an itchy pollen is on its way. But whose pollen will be itchier?
Well, it seems like Gabriel had second thoughts on perhaps retreating into that Badoo, because in the end, whoever attacks the other Badoo first does have a slight advantage, right? If we have a 3-hit KO situation of the Badoos, whoever attacks first will have that advantage.
But I didn't have Itchy Pollen taking a knockout on my potential finals bingo card.
I mean, we could see either player perhaps try to avoid that or be a bit more aggressive with a bite here and there, right? Gabriel does have access to Monkey Dory if he does find that Darkness Energy, but under item lock, it's going to be so much more difficult. So I honestly would not be surprised to see that Itchy Pollen interaction right here, unless Nathan is able to utilize Curse Blast finally this game.
Nathan going for the double Buddy Puffin, having a little look at the prize cards once again. Dustclops in there, double Nest Ball and Pheasantipity. I'm not loving these prize cards, Pablo.
Nope, not loving him. Pheasantipity living in the prize cards once again. At least it's made itself a little more accessible this time around. Boss's Orders and Iono at the bottom, those are decent. Sometimes you're very glad that you find a boss after you take a prize card right off your prices. So
true.
Not terrible, but we're going to see an Iono. Whatever Gabriel was planning for the next turn, no longer possible, but I think I saw a land, so that's the perfect card to play when you're under the Itchy Pollen lock.
Wow, yeah, that is absolutely ideal. Over on Nathan's side of the board, looking really solid after that double Buddy Puffin with 3 Dreepy, a Fire Energy attached to 1, and a Duskull. Just what you want to see. I think both players are in great positions right now to be pulling off their strategy with ease.
Yeah, both boards looking quite good. I think we might finally see both decks running at their full engine, Amy. So far we've had half a Dragapult deck against half a Dragapult deck, and wow, not only the Monkey Dory with the Darkness Energy, but the Lance as well. How does this happen?
This is wild. Okay, going for 3 dragon types. Lance is the master of plucking those out of the deck. Monkey Dory with the Darkness Energy already attached. Absolutely perfect, giving that deck a good shuffle, and will be able to move damage around with Monkey Dory's Adrenabrain ability momentarily.
Gabriel is so aware that finding all these pieces just like raw in your hand after your opponent Ionos you, the chances of that happening are so low, but in order to become champion, you have to be very good. You have to have a very good deck, and sometimes you need that sprinkling of luck to go your way. And after that game 1, I think Gabriel earned it here.
So true, and we'll just see that the Monkey Dory might be the factor that takes Gabriel into a leading position in this game 3 of our seniors finals. So going ahead and looking like we're going to go for the item lock. We're going to move that damage counter using Monkey Dory's Adrenabrain ability over to the opposing Badoo, and then our own Itchy Pollen will lead our Gabriel's Badoo into the lead of the Badoo battle. Glory.
This is incredible to see. Now the damage from Badoo working against itself. And now Nathan in a very awkward spot where if he chooses to go Itchy Pollen again, his Badoo will go down. So Nathan actually choosing to commit to a knockout with Bite. Once again, how have we seen 2 bites this round, Amy? What?
I love it. Biting their way back, literally. Badoo goes down, and now over to Gabriel's turn. Unfortunately for Nathan, board looking not too hot. Otherwise, really on the back foot with no draw engine available, but 2 Duskull, and that could be what brings it back. We're really using the differences of these decks against one another. The Radiant Alakazam coming into play with an S-Ball as well.
Now those 2 damage counters on the Badoo will be utilized to be able to take a 2-price turn, possibly on double Dreepy, leaving Nathan with no energy on the board and a single Dreepy established. Gabriel just running on full steam right now. That Iono feels like he handpicked his 6 cards. How does he do it?
Oh my word. We've seen fantastic draws from both players, but this feels like it's really taking the cake. We're going for those recon directives still. Wowza, I am absolutely astounded. We still need to see the Dragapult evolution. But other than that, we've got the Dracloak on the bench with the energy. We're ready to rumble. We just need to see the evolution and then where those damage counters are going to end up. But the flexibility of being able to move damage counters from Gabriel's deck is astounding.
There's the Dragapult, had an Ultra Ball already, found a Professor Turo as well. Gabriel has all the pieces in his hand right now. There's the Dragapult TX. Are we going to see a double knockout on the active and a Duskull, or are we going to see a double Dreepy knockout?
Wow, looks like we're going for the double Dreepy as Professor Turo's scenario comes down.
Is that going to pick up the Radiant Alakazam? Make sure it's not a liability for next turn.
We're considering the Pheasantipity instead. Again, Pheasantipity being a little bit of a liability itself, and then we could rebench it later to flip the script. We could also flip the script a second time if we pick it up with Professor Turo's scenario and bench it again now, but I feel like that might be risky.
That would be quite risky, especially if we don't need too many other cards. We're going to see Lumineon preemptively be benched. I'm guessing there's a Force Seal Stone to go along with that.
There we go. Oh, for the unfair stamp, using every single card in Gabriel's pocket, making sure to disrupt Nathan as much as humanly possible. What a play.
It feels like both times that Nathan has aggressively immediately dealt with the Itchy Pollen, he's been heavily punished both times. Now he's going to have 2 cards to work with, his top deck, and a single Dreepy in play. Now, we did see him be completely fine in game 1 in that situation, but can he do it 2 games in a row?
I'm not sure. We're going to be living off that top deck one more time. We're going to have 3 cards total for Nathan to make this comeback because there's no card draw on board. So let's see if we can see what those 3 cards are. Ooh, we've got a Dracloak at least. That's a handy card. That'll give us an extra.
1 more card potentially. We're going to see... I have to imagine Gabriel's going to just knock out 2 Dreepies, right? If you take 2 prizes and then your opponent starts using Curse Blast, that just gets you closer to winning. So the difference in both players' boards is like, wow.
Absolutely. Okay, popping the Defiance Vest, possibly on the Pheasantipity just to give it a little bit of extra wiggle room, but it only activates if you're behind on the prize cards, and Gabriel is very much about to go ahead in the prize cards. We're going to, yes, put some damage on that other Dreepy and take out 2. Budu, of course, being the choice into the active as it has a free retreat cost, but also we might need to Itchy Pollen in the future.
Goodness gracious, now we're committed to the Dracloak, so no Dragapult this turn.
Oh no.
There is a counter catcher found, but there's no more Radiant Alakazam to be trapped. What can Nathan do here? Get another Dreepy into play with that Buddy Puffin and Itchy Pollen. Is that all?
It might well be. I mean, we've already used our rescue board. I suppose we could counter catcher something and hope that Gabriel doesn't have the energy in hand again to be able to attach and retreat. That might buy us some time with Budu using Itchy Pollen, but it would be a bit of a Hail Mary.
And this is where Gabriel's deck is really making a difference. The Adrenabrain has come into play. The On-First Stamp has come into play. And he also plays a higher energy count than most. He's playing 8 total energy in his Dragapult DX deck, making it more likely we see a Boss's Orders. I'm guessing we're going to see an energy to retreat. We see the damage transferred from the Pheasantipity onto the Dreepy. So now we just need the energy. I'm guessing he has it because he played the Boss's Orders first. He just found another energy in case he needs it.
Looks like that's definitely going to be a possibility.
There it is.
Here we go.
Dreepy and Dracloak will be going down, Amy. There will be 2 Duskull in play, and that's it for Nathan.
I don't think Nathan can come back from that with Sparkling Crystal already in the discard pile as well. I think a comeback is nigh impossible, Pablo.
I always call it, and I'm always burned, but I'm going to call it again. Nathan, there we go.
There is the handshake. Gabriel Fernandez is your seniors victor, our champion of EUIC 2025. Congratulations.
Went down game 1, kept his cool, and made the comeback. He knew he had the right tools to deal with the mirror match, and he showed the power of Monkey Dory. Monkey Dory with Dragapult, not something I had on my bingo card heading into this weekend.